Hello and welcome to tonight's United View. I'm Ben, and tonight we've got a great panel here ready to rant, laugh and talk about different United topics. One of them being the FA Cup game against Yeovil, another one being the preview towards the Southampton game, and we're also going to talk a bit about formations and our captain too. But first of all, we will kick off with our FA Cup review, and we've got two guys raring to go on the panel. Shaun will be here shortly. Do not fear, he will be back on the show tonight. However, right now we're joined by one of our favourite Reds. Niall, thank you for coming on once again, mate.
Pleasure, my friend, pleasure.
I'm loving the cap as well. Loving the cap. Also, making his United View debut, Stephen, thank you for coming on the show, mate.
Yeah, no worries, thanks for having me.
We're looking forward to hearing your wisdom. We've had a lot of love for you over Twitter today. Yeah? Not based.
I've no idea where that comes from, but...
Come on, who have you been paying? Who have you been paying? Cheeky tenner in the post. Remember, you guys at home get involved with the show tonight. All you've got to do is tweet at the United View as we talk about our talking points, or you can just comment in the comment boxes. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll start today's show as normal, shall we? So, a win, a 2-0 win against Yeovil. Niall, we'll come to you first. FA Cup, we love the magic of the FA Cup, don't we? But that first half didn't really seem magical to me. Oh, Noel, you're there. Noel seems to have gone missing, so Stephen, we'll come over to you, mate. The magic of the FA Cup, obviously brilliant. However, that first half wasn't magical, was it?
No, completely dreary. Couldn't string 3 passes together. And you probably could say it was probably one of the worst performances all season, really. Considering, I thought first 20 minutes it'd go as standard. Yeovil, it's going to be their biggest game of the season. Or, you know what I mean, in the past 10 years, probably even further than that. But United just never settled, even after the first 20, 25 minutes. And it just looked like it was going to get from bad to worse. And happy they got in at half-time. 0-0, to be honest.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Yeovil, we shouldn't be saying we'd be happy at half-time 0-0.
Yeah, I know.
But at the end of the day, it was such a poor first half, wasn't it, Niall?
Yeah, it was, nothing happened. There was... as we mentioned just before we came on there, Ander Herrera, I know, barred the goal. Obviously a wonder goal. It was a superlative strike, but in the first half, you wouldn't even realise the guy was playing because he was pretty much anonymous in that first half. But the one thing I think we really need to look at is larger scale is the amount of injuries, obviously with the formation as well. Another 2 today.
Oh, we seem to have lost Niall again. No, you keep her freezing. I don't know what's going on there. It wouldn't be the United View without some technical problems, would it? Stephen, let's come over to you. Obviously, Niall was mentioning Ander Herrera. There's so many individual performances we could point out, isn't there, after that first half? I mean, Fletcher didn't have a good first half. McNair had a poor 45. Even Smalling didn't seem confident at all. I mean, in terms of players and the way the game went, do you feel that they more or less got back in the game in the second half when the formation changed?
Yeah, but I still don't think it improved you know what I mean, massively. First off, like you're saying, defensively, I mean, it's hard just to point the finger at the back three, to be honest. I mean, they're not brilliant, but you defend as a team, and the midfield, again, they're not creating. And when you aren't keeping the ball in midfield and you can't even string 3 passes together, you're going to be in big trouble. And the first half, Smalling, Blackett and McNair, they were just getting ran. They were just getting the run rings around them, you know what I mean? And like you say, it isn't really good enough. It just isn't good enough. Especially
at Yeovil, in a competition that we want to win this year. We definitely want that trophy. And it's just a shame because, Stephen, a performance like that doesn't really tell your opponents we want to win it.
No, it doesn't. When the draw's going to be made tomorrow, people are going to be, I'll tell you what, I'll take United at home, like, you know what I mean? Not at Old Trafford. Because away from home, as we all know, it's been quite poor performances. We've got some good results. Like we say, we're undefeated, but yeah, like you say, if United come out in the act tomorrow, I think there'll be a few sides looking and just going, yeah, I'll take that. Which, you know what I mean? if we'd have put 5 or 6 past them, a good performance, it wouldn't be like that. But I think that's just the way it's gone.
It is. That's our season at the moment, isn't it? Hello to Michael, who says Yeovil were unlucky. To be honest, I can't disagree. If I had nicked a goal in the first half, I don't know if we'd be talking about a United win right now. It's just one of those. It's just one of those performances. No confidence at all. I've got to say, no confidence at all. Hello to Swaggart, who says Moyes couldn't beat West Brom at home last season. He's just seen off Barcelona. Yeah, he has. Well done. Let's not turn this into a Moyes fest, though. Hello to Steve Jones, who says he also couldn't beat Fulham. Hello as well to Terry, who's here as well from Devil's Bass. To Devil's Bass, we've got a lot of love for you guys. Thank you for giving us Whitey this evening, I've got to say. Shaun, it's great to have you with us, mate.
Hi, Ben. All right.
How are you doing, mate?
I've been better.
Are you a little bit ill?
Yeah, I've been for the last week. So, yeah, I'm getting there, slowly.
Slowly but surely. Hey, Shaun, what about the first half today?
What about it? It was absolute tripe.
Go on, rant away, Shaun.
Tripe isn't even a strong enough word to describe it. It was absolutely dog shite. We just didn't have any passing or anything. I don't know. I think Yeovil deserve a hell of a lot of credit for that performance today. Like most teams in the FA Cup or any of the cups, the lower league teams will come out and they'll give you a hard time in the first half. They'll press you high, and then they generally lose all their energy. And then in the second half, you can just hit them on the counter attack. But Yeovil kept going for practically the whole 90 minutes, and they rushed us. We couldn't pass. We were hoofing the ball anywhere, generally out of the stadium. Yeah. The first half was awful. Second half was slightly better when we changed formation, but yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because as Shaun said there, Stephen, I mean, Yeovil deserve a lot of credit, don't they, for their performance today? They closed us down, they pressed us. So should we make the excuse that rather that our players were very, very bad today, Yeovil actually played them out the game very, very well?
Yeah, I agree, mate. Yeovil have got to take good credit. They actually made it, even though it was poor for United fans to watch. In general, I'd say they made it a very good cup tie. Like I said, first 20 minutes, you expect them to do that. The lower league, it's their biggest game in a while. I think they were bottom, and they haven't won in. I think they won like 3 or 4 games in all of last year. Do you know what I mean? They were that bad, but everyone was there. United are in town, and they were just playing League One football, and United just couldn't get settled, and that was it. And we've got some quality players in our lineup, but if they're being closed down by people who want it more than them, they're going to get shown up, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Shaun, got to come over to you. I mean, with the talent we had on the pitch, I mean, as you said, our midfield just got overrun, didn't it, in the first half? But in the second half, Van Gaal made the changes. He changed the formation. Our defence just looked so much more comfortable, even though we had to play 2 centre-backs as left back and right backs. I mean, does the second half display sort of make up for the atrocious first?
It's just interesting to say that we had to change the formation at half-time because of injuries to both Raphael and Shaw. That's 52 injuries now. I think had one of those two not have had an injury, then I think probably McNair would have gone off because he just didn't. He wasn't at the races at all. The second half we were better, but it still wasn't great.
It wasn't, was it? And I mean, people could say players came into the game, but Steve, he had to bring on Mata and Di Maria, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, because we were creating absolutely nothing. The only positive for me out of the game, really, I mean, Di Maria is at a world, and Herrera is at a worldie, as we know, but Angel Di Maria is back for us, and I've been saying it for absolutely ages. That guy is key, because he frightens the life out of people when he runs at them, because he is just that good. Now, people slag Di Maria off for the 60 million quid we paid for him. His impact so far, I know he's been injured, I think, since the whole game come off after about 10 minutes. But even when he's playing poorly, he just creates something. He is that good, and he needs to stay fit now for us to, like you say, we want to go on and win the FA Cup and cement the top four. And that was the only positive out there for me today, because Di Maria scares the life out of people, gets space, and Mata can thread balls through, Herrera can. And that's where the goals ended up coming from, you know what I mean? We created a little bit more, but it wasn't fantastic.
And we've got to say as well, the supply for our strikers today, Shaun, there was nothing, was there? All game, absolutely nothing there. I mean, I heard some supporters go, oh, Falcao played well against Stoke, but he's been absolutely awful against Yeovil. How can we think about signing him? I mean, Serge made the point, and I watch football and I watch the way players move. No one moved more in that game than Falcao. He was running in behind, he was making moves. There was just no supply, was there? Fletcher couldn't find a pass. Herrera couldn't find a pass.
And hang on, Ben. Fletcher could find a pass. It was generally back to De Gea.
Well, that's a no comment situation, but still, there was just no supply, was there?
There was nothing, and there was nothing against Stoke either, was there? To be fair, and I don't know. We just seem to be completely bypassing the midfield. It's like if the defenders get hold of the ball, it goes back to De Gea, and then he kicks it straight at the pitch. I don't really know why we're not using the midfield. I mean, there's five of them there if we're playing three at the back. The three in the centre should be enough to be able to thread some balls through, but it just doesn't seem to be working. I think today it's difficult. I mean, a lot of people were saying, why were we playing 3-5-2 against Yeovil? We should have just gone all out attack against them. It's easy to say that after. You've got to show these teams some respect. I mean, how can anyone have guessed that Yeovil would actually press us for that whole 90 minutes? They didn't let us settle on the ball, which at the end of the day, that's what they have to do to us. They're the League One side that have got Manchester United on their home ground in front of 9,500 fans. And to be fair, those fans, they were fantastic today. I thought our fans, our 2,000, would be sort of really, really loud. And yes, they were, but you could hear the Yeovil fans over them at times. I thought we would out-sing them like we normally would at most grounds. But whether because it was an open stand affected that, I'm not sure. No, but there wasn't that much of bloody sing and dance about, was there, really?
To be honest, there wasn't, was there?
I know towards the end of the second half, so I tweeted, because obviously I was on the Twitter account today, and I tweeted, can we just get 3 or 4 passes? Or can we just complete 3 or 4 passes? And someone tweeted me back and said, are you even watching? We've had the ball for the last 4 minutes. And I'm thinking, was there a foul or something, and we were, and there was an injury and we had the ball in our possession for 4 minutes? Because there was definitely not 4 minutes of that game where we had the ball for 4 minutes on it. We couldn't string any more than 4 or 5 passes together.
I've got to say, I had a similar argument with someone on Twitter about Ander Herrera. Well, it wasn't an argument, it was a disagreement. Someone said Ander Herrera was a clear man of the match. No. Not for me, he wasn't. He scored a wonder goal. He came into the game a bit in the second half, but he got out-strengthed, he was out-positioned, he lost the ball constantly. For me, he just wasn't good enough. And talking about players who weren't good enough, Stephen, we'll come to you. I mean, there's a lot of people talking about Darren Fletcher. There was after, previous performances. What's your stance on Darren? Is there a way out for him that isn't going to be a bit embarrassing? Because at the moment, the performances are.
I mean, it pains me to slag off Fletch. Fletch has been quality for us. I mean, he struggled when he first come onto the scene. Obviously, he's had his problem with his injuries in the past couple of years. There was that last year where he almost died, you know what I mean? He's come back, trained with us for a long time. But, I mean, part of the reason why we were so poor at the start of the season is because Fletcher was playing. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone can see it, and when he's even passing the ball back, it's not even a good pass. It's 10 yards wide of De Gea, so he's got to move. You know what I mean? And it's just simple stuff. He can't perform for Manchester United anymore. Pains me to say, but I'd love that to be his last game today. You know what I mean? Get a send off, and then I don't know whether he'd be a Premier League side or Championship side, but no, not for me. But he isn't the only one, to be fair to Fletch. He isn't the only one who shouldn't be playing at United no more. But yeah, I can't see a way out for him, to be honest.
I think the moment which sums up today for me was when Dan Fletcher got the ball in the midfield where Carrick always picks it up. He looked for Luke Shaw. It was a simple chest control for Luke Shaw. It was a simple pass for Fletcher. They both got it. It's so wrong. For me, Luke Shaw didn't look like he was worth $500,000 today, let alone 30 million. He disappointed me the most today, Luke Shaw. I've got to say, he's just back from injury, but that's the reason why we're not really going to hit on it much. But he was just so poor today, Luke Shaw. Shaun, we'll come over to you mainly because we need to talk about this guy and we've got a tweet about him. Anders Spoon says, I can't believe that no one has touched on Rooney yet. He needs to be dropped. The last 3 games has been non-existent. Now, I saw some other channels talking about how Rooney isn't a leader anymore. For me, he has had, for me against Stoke he went missing. Newcastle he was good. Games before that he was good as well. It's against Spurs he was still influencing play. For me today he had a very bad game, possibly his worst in United shirt. A cause for him to be dropped a bit premature, or?
I'm surprised he played the 90 minutes today, but then when you consider that we had those 2 forced substitutions at half time, that could explain why. I know that they were talking before the game that Di Maria would definitely get 30 minutes, so that kind of forced his hand as well. Should Rooney be dropped? It's a hard one. I mean, he has been playing well this season, but then we have had this overload of fixtures just recently. Apparently, I heard him saying on BT Sport earlier that we're the team in the league that has played the least amount of games this season. I can't believe that we're the only one that's played 21 games so far this season. There must have been others knocked out the same round of the Capital One Cup as we were. I can't believe that all 19 others got through and we didn't. But
we are the team in the league who has played the least amount of games this season, including pre-season games. Which, when you think about it as well, can we blame fatigue? I mean, Hull played a second side in the Premier League the other day, just so ready for the FA Cup match. I mean, even Hull have played more games than us this season. It's a bit like, you just don't know which angle to come from. Stephen, what do you reckon about Rooney?
Well, I've learned the hard way on here before. Like I say, I've done a few videos for Tal and the Devil's Boss, and I think it was a Leicester game, and even early on in the early doors in the season, I slagged off Rooney. And the abuse, as soon as you mention his name, is frightening, to be honest. But I said the same against Stoke when we had them on Thursday. Everyone was slagging Falcao off the first 20 minutes, saying his touch was worse than Hernandez. They were going after everyone else. Evans, yeah, rightly so, he was poor, but the one name, like you say, that never cropped up for the first hour was Wayne Rooney. He was standing in the quarterback role, spraying balls out, and they were going out for throw-ins all the time. You know what I mean? Once his Hollywood ball doesn't come off, to be honest, he shouldn't be in midfield anyway. This is an underlying problem. I can't stand watching him in centre midfield. Some fans are actually adamant that he can play centre back, he can play right back, he can play left back, centre midfield striker. He isn't good enough. He is not he shouldn't be a starter in the centre midfield for Man United. He doesn't play up top. Do you know what I mean? You're gonna have to drop either RVP or Falcao or Di Maria or someone. That's what Van Gaal's going to do. But it seems to me at the moment where Rooney's got to be the first name on the team sheet and he's put in midfield when his influence, it hasn't been unbelievable. Don't get me wrong. Rooney goes in spells, as we know anyway, of scoring goals, assisting. And he'll go through a run of 10, 11 games and then he'll go missing for 2 months. But people won't have it, to be honest. But yeah, like I say, to be honest, with how many injuries we've got anyway, you can't say, I'm going to drop Rooney for this, because there's a lot more worse performers. But you know what I mean?
It is true, and I've got to say, Stephen, just to quickly act in on that debate, for me, you've got Rooney, Mata, Falcao, Van Persie. There's 4 players there. You've got to drop one of them. And for me, all day long, you drop Van Persie. You play Rooney up front with Falcao, you play Mata in behind, and you drop Van Persie.
I don't know, because I'm a massive Robin Van Persie fan. It's a shame. It's a shame. It was a shame that the first few weeks of the season. You know what I mean? Van Persie was getting stick left, right, and centre. He isn't scoring. He isn't doing this. There was a stat about 2 weeks ago. Van Persie's, I think, second or third highest runner in the league. The simple fact is, we have not found him with the right passes. Falcao moves all game. Robin Van Persie moves all game. We just can't get the ball to him. It's just as simple as that. But people judge Robin Van Persie and Falcao and Di Maria, they're not doing very well just because of the fantasy football points. It's ridiculous. Half of them don't even watch the games, I bet. They don't. They'll just see, you got me 10 points on fantasy football, so he must be doing all right. You know what I mean?
It is a difficult one. It is a difficult one, and the world does live off of FIFA and football management nowadays, doesn't it? And obviously the fantasy football teams too. It's just a weird one. Shaun, one positive from today: Di Maria comes on and scores, and Ander Herrera scored an absolute beauty. What did you make of the goals today, Shaun?
Ander Herrera's goal, I just sat here in disbelief for like 10 seconds, and then it was, what a bloody goal that was. It was just out of this world. It was just from nothing. Back to goal, swivel, in. It was, no keeper in the world was going to stop that. Fairly fortunate, but it was a worldie. Di Maria, it was classic. Had to press high, and then we just broke on the counter attack. It was nothing I didn't expect to not score, to be quite honest. Yeah, it was. Apparently, it took a lot of skill to score it. I would have been disappointed had he have missed.
Yeah, to be honest, I was thinking, I don't know about you, after the Arsenal miss, oh dear, here we go again. When Di Maria was running towards that goal, I was absolutely worrying myself to bits. Well, this show's sort of turned into a little bit of a United view and Devil Bus collaboration now. MUFC London, thank you for coming on, mate.
Yeah, no problem. How you doing?
Yeah, all good, mate. Now, today's game, obviously we've spoken about it, you've been watching and you've heard our views, so do you want to go on a little rant yourself?
Yeah, I suppose what's frustrating for me, and I agree with quite a lot what the boys have said, is I think Van Gaal and his philosophy and all those funny words that he uses, like processes, and sounds like he's running a business rather than a football team. I believe he's onto something that's right. The problem is I just think we lack technically gifted football players. Although we have people that, Tyler Blackett might be able to head of the ball well and tackle, Paddy McNair, a lot of our youth coming through, the likes of Darren Fletcher, even players like Wayne Rooney, doesn't have a great first touch. We just lack we fail technically to be able to play the kind of football that he's trying to introduce. We're half a yard too slow when we try to do it, and we can't play out the back. That's why we end up knocking it long so often. I actually prefer us playing long ball and trying to get a flick on, because we're actually more successful at doing that than trying to string 4 or 5 passes together at the back. And I think, I watched today's game, and it was about 70-odd minutes. We were 1-0 up. Yeovil was sitting back, and we looked like we were happy. We looked like a Sven-Goran Eriksson team. The players looked happy to try and take a 1-0 victory through to 90 minutes. I'm sitting there pulling the air out, think, right, somebody have a run at them, take a man on, try and whip a ball into the box. And the only player out there capable of doing it was Angel Di Maria. When he came on, his pace changed the game. It created more holes and more space for other.
Oh, Terry, we lost you there. Today is definitely a day of technical problems on the United view. First of all, Niall, now Terry looks like he's lagged out a little bit. But Shaun, we've got to agree, in terms of technical ability, what have we got in place? Oh, Terry, you back?
Yeah,
sorry, mate. For a moment.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. Probably my connection. So no, as I say, we need to. I still think there's a lot of overhaul in the squad to be done. There are players that are good enough. I do think. I know Luke Shaw had a nightmare today, but I think he's still a good 3 or 4 weeks away from being fit. He looked like he was running through treacle. He looked that slow today, and we've got players that need to get fit again. But there are a lot of people. Darren Fletcher is one of them. Most of our defenders, other than Chris Smalling, that I think with a world-class centre-back next to him will be okay. A bit like Ronnie Johnson, decent player, but needed Jack Stam next to him to be very good. The rest of them, I don't think they have the subtlety, the technical ability to be able to play the way that Van Gaal wants us to. And my concern is that it's going to take us another year or so to move these players out and bring in right caliber of player, because you see it today. We were outplayed at times. We might have had more of the ball. We were outplayed at times and outpressed by a team bottom of League One.
And it's got to be said, by the way, what you were saying about obviously the defenders and bits and bobs like that. I mean, you're looking at it and you're looking at us trying to get rid of players and letting players go. Look how long it's taken us to get rid of Anderson. He's still at the club.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I was talking to a couple of my friends about Fellaini and about Ashley Young, and I think that Van Gaal's being very brave for doing something he needs to do. I still think he'll sell them come the summer, but if he can get them on the pitch and get a few decent performances out of them, he'll get a bit more money, because we had a lot of players this summer just gone that I don't think we could have. Like Anderson, we can't give them away. You know, who would have paid more than £10 million for Fellaini? Who would have paid more than £5 million for Ashley Young? Nobody in the summer. But now that they've put in some decent games, you're going to get it. I still think you could see another 5 or 6 players at least leave come the summer, because they're just not playing the kind of, or have the ability to play what I call modern football. And although Manchester United, I still want to see us get it down wide, and I still want to see power and pace. But football has changed in the last 5 or 6 years, and I still think Manchester United are behind the curve. When you watch Chelsea play football and City play football now, there's an intensity, there's a power and a presence when they're on the pitch, and and they're not that far behind Bayern Munich and Real Madrid that are the best at it. You know, teams like Barcelona are an enigma. Nobody else is going to come along for another 20 years and play total football and dominate. You need to be able to mix it up. And if you look at our team today, I actually think the Yeovil players look physically stronger and more athletic than the collective team that we have. And there's a lot of work still to be done at Manchester United before we even think about winning the Premier League again.
Yeah, I've got to agree. And I've also got to say, this leads us on perfectly to the next topic, and that's the formation. Shaun, do you reckon getting rid of this 3-5-2 could help solve some of these problems? I mean, surely we've got to revert, obviously, as Terry was saying there, to some modern football. We've got to start playing some modern football. This 3-5-2, it's just not modern, is it? It's just not exciting.
I really don't know quite where to go with it. Obviously, Van Gaal is very reluctant to change it. Yeah, the thing. But then again, saying that about Van Gaal, we saw in the World Cup how he was very ready to change his formation to suit how the other team was playing against them, against Holland. So I'm a bit. I mean, obviously today he had to change the formation at half time because of the injury. In other games he's been reluctant to change.
It's weird, isn't it? Because you expect Van Gaal, the manager, to have the arrogance, Steve, to change his formations, to change the way he plays, but he seems reluctant to change. Do you reckon it is all down to injuries, or do you think it's down to preference?
I think quite a few of the games have been down to injury, but he'll start with a 3-5-2 and then won't work the first half, and then he'll change it the second half like he's done today. He's done that a few games. So again, it's just a really tough one to work out. Me personally, I just don't know whether I'd change from the 3-5-2 at the minute, because like Tal was saying, we haven't got the technically gifted players at the back. You can't. I mean, Johnny Evans is getting exposed, do you know what I mean, for what he is. He's just, like Tal was saying, a Ronnie Johnson. We need world-class players still to come in the side. You know what I mean? This is why a lot of the title talk's been just too premature. They just aren't good enough.
And you're just thinking about the person now as well, as Terry, you were saying. I mean, that needs to change, doesn't it? We need another centre mid. We need still to come back, of course. On top of that, I feel we still need someone else for the right-hand side. For me, I would pay the extra for Cuadrado, because as you said, running at players, a bit of excitement. Yeah. He adds that more than Coleman does. And,
I think 100% right. And there's about 5 or 6 type of player that I still think Manchester United needs, and it helps everybody. First of all, we sent a centre back. I've been reading all over Twitter and the newspapers saying the Matt Hummels deal looks almost certain to happen, at least in the summer. That's what we need, a world-class centre back who's very rarely injured, who can help the younger players. Central midfield, we've got a world-class central midfielder in Michael Carrick. You'll never find a bigger fan of him than me. But like every top central midfielder, what Michael Carrick has not had, which is why I think he's not seen in the same light as others, he's not had his partner. If you think of Patrick Vieira, there was Petit, you've got Xavi and Iniesta, Gerrard and Alonso, and the list goes on. Whenever you've got, Scholes and King, when I look at us, we need someone like a William Carvalho, a Strootman, a Vidal next to him, someone who's a bit of a powerhouse, box to box, to allow Carrick to go get on with his natural game. And then it comes to the pace on the out wide. You've got players like to play. You need another Di Maria on the other side. Pace down both wings, drag players out wide, which frees up space in the middle, which gives the likes of Rooney and Mata more time on the ball. If you watch when we play now, the middle's so congested because teams know, well, we don't need to worry about the men out wide because even if they get to the byline, they can't cross the ball. So we'll just flood the midfield. We'll stifle Rooney. We'll stifle Mata. We'll just make sure there's at least two people marking the strikers, and we can suffocate the game. And it punctures any kind of performance we're trying to put together. So some pace out wide, someone solid with Carrick and a centre back, and you've got a different team.
It's true, and to be honest, guys on the YouTube channel are agreeing as well. If you're on YouTube, by the way, watching us, subscribe and comment in the comment box. Hello to Fred, who says the 3-5-2, you need the right players for it to work. We don't have the right players for it. Our centre-backs don't know how to play from the back. The defensive midfield is poor. We look so poor overall instead of dominating games. Hello to Lion War, who says that 10 is a preferred position for Rooney. Alex says that James plays for 10 at rail, but he can play on the wing. However, I don't think we'll go for him. Raymond says with a 3-5-2, we can see their skulls, but we play better 4-4-2. It's just we are too open when we play that formation. Make sure you get your comments into us. Also, Lion War says that Depay, he could be a quality player. He's scoring a lot of goals, and Matt Cottrell agrees that we should be going for a world-class centre-back. And someone like Hummels is 26. Evans will be older than him. Surely that's the end of the end of Evans. I've got to agree. We can't see Evans starting for us after summer, can we? Shaun, we'll come over to you then. Let's start our Southampton preview. We've spoken about the formations. We've spoken about how the players played against Yeovil and where we'd like to see them. Does Di Maria come straight back in the team for you?
Hang on a minute, Ben. Just going back onto Yeovil a second. I wanted to tell you who my man of the match was. My man of the match was Anderson for keeping his arse on the bench.
Well, to be honest, there was nowhere else he could have been.
That happened all afternoon. That was definitely the best thing that happened.
I reckon if Anderson had come on, he would have scored a last-minute winner and shut us all up. I reckon he should have come on.
I wouldn't have been surprised, and would he have done a worse job than Fletcher, to be honest?
What do you reckon, Steve? Would Anderson have done a worse job than Fletcher?
Yeah, by a country mile.
So, Shaun, let's move on, shall we? Let's go on to Southampton. Should we be seeing Southampton as a rival in our quest for the top four?
Yeah, I think we should. I think they have had a little wobble, admittedly, but they managed to beat Arsenal last week. I didn't see any of the game. I've not really seen an awful lot about it, but I mean, a 2-0 win, I believe it was. That's pretty good for, Arsenal are our top four rivals. So in that case, surely that should make Southampton our top four rival as well. When we went down there, it was a bit of a drab affair, wasn't it? So, it wasn't that long ago. Southampton will be fancying coming up to Old Trafford and nicking some points off us.
Yeah, and hopefully we can get a performance at home as well. Stephen, do you reckon Southampton will more or less play exactly the same as they did against us at St Mary's, or do you reckon there's some other threats we should watch out for?
To be honest, I don't think Koeman changes as much as, you know what I mean, the setup as how many other people do like. I don't think, to be honest, he'll come and he'll be afraid of United, to be honest. Because when sides have come to Old Trafford and they've shown an ounce of what they're scared, then United have turned them over, and they were Hall and QPR. The rest have come to Old Trafford. You look at the Stoke game, you look at Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace had great chances, didn't take them. So I'm looking forward to Sunday, to be honest, because that's going to be a great game. But yeah, I don't think Koeman would change his approach, to be honest, coming to Old Trafford.
But however, Terry, we'd like Van Gaal to change his approach a little bit. Obviously, the injuries to Shaw and Raphael today were forced his hand a little bit. Young will still be out too. Di Maria hopefully coming back. How important is it for us to get a massive performance in at home against Southampton?
I think it is. Sometimes it's just nice for the fans to go to the game, go to their seats, and leave feeling satisfied not only with the points but with a performance. It builds confidence. When I watch us play so often in the last 18 months, I feel nervous. The person sitting next to me is nervous, and I think that transcends onto the pitch. You know, everyone's sort of no one's, and it even that's what makes the crowd quiet as well. Because when you're nervous, it's harder to sing because you're not in a relaxed frame of mind. And I think Di Maria coming back into the team is paramount. That pace we've spoken about. When he's been missing, even when we've won games recently, when he went off against Hull, we still won 3-0. But we're just not the same team. When your fastest player is Wayne Rooney, who's no slouch, but he's a bit like a juggernaut. He takes about 5 or 6 strides to really get going before he's actually moving. You know, he's not quick off the mark. We need his penetration. I wouldn't mind seeing Januzaj given another game, who I know he's been in awful form this season. I don't really know. I thought he was someone I was really looking forward to seeing play under Van Gaal, but he just hasn't. I don't know what. It would be in front of him. He won't try and take the guy on. He looks scared. It's a little bit weird. It's like he's holding an egg and he don't want to drop it. I don't know what he's doing. It's weird, but fingers crossed. You know, Di Maria plays and can get sort of 70, 80 minutes under his belt. But Southampton are going to be tough. You know, we were lucky. We were so lucky to beat them at St Mary's. Is it the Dell or St Mary's now, isn't it? We were so lucky to beat them a few weeks back, and we'll need to play very, very well to walk away with 3 points. So big performance is definitely needed.
Oh, Terry, you just showed your age there. Questioning what a stadium was called. Shaun, it is a little bit worrying, isn't it? I mean, the fact that Raphael, Shaw, Young look all set to be out. Raphael has confirmed, by the way, that he's got to have an operation. So that's definitely a few weeks for him at least. So what do? We have to go to 4 at the back, don't we? And it probably looks like we'll be playing Blackett left back, Valencia right back.
Is there not still doubts over Valencia's fitness for next week?
I haven't got any update on Valencia, but if Valencia's out, what? Do we bring up Janko? What do we do?
Someone earlier on was suggesting that we go with a back 4 of Jones at right back, Blackett left back, and Evans and Smalling in the middle. I'm not sure how far Rojo's away, and not sure how far Blynn's away either, but either of those two, if they're available, could fill in left-hand side defender, centre-back or left-back. I'm really not convinced by either Jones nor Smalling at right-back.
Especially not Smalling. For me, Smalling shouldn't play right-back, sorry. No,
I'm not convinced by either of them. If it's got to be, Jones is the lesser of the two evils, in my opinion. I thought when another name is Lingard. Because he started the season quite well and he played as the right wing back, and then he picked up that injury. Was that against MK Dons perhaps? And that was a shame for him. So perhaps he could be coming back into the fray as well now.
I mean, Stephen, what do you reckon? Do you reckon Van Gaal has to play the back 4, or do you reckon he will stick with the 3?
I think he'll stick with the 3 personally.
Who does he play out on the right then? Who do we play as our wing backs?
Well, like you say, Valencia, there's still doubts over his fitness. I think after the Stoke game, Raphael sounds like he's going to be out for a number of weeks now. Ashley Young did his hamstring as well. So, I mean, Janko's a bit of a shout. You know what I mean? But again, he hasn't been around the first team this season. So that's all we just seem to be doing. It's just like makeshift defences all the time. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't like pick the back 3/5 on Sunday, to be honest. But yeah, there aren't a lot of options. And on Smalling and Jones out playing right wing back, hell no. I know they were under Moyes last season, but Phil Jones and Chris Smalling struggle to control the ball and bring it out. Never mind get a crossing out wide. You know what I mean? So let's leave that one.
Yeah, Phil Jones crossing. I've got nightmares in my head right now. Yeah, it just doesn't work, does it? Terry, what would you do in terms of the wing backs and the right backs and left backs? Would you call someone up like we have done quite successfully this season?
Yeah, I'm not one for playing people out of position to fill holes. I know Michael Carrick does a decent job at centre back, but that's when we play, with all due respect, lesser teams. If he was playing centre back against Diego Costa or Lionel Messi, he would look like a midfielder playing in defence. So I would look at the youth system and see who there is in terms of, you've got, as you mentioned, Janko, and I'm not sure he's Vermal, or there's another gentleman. I don't even know his name, to be honest with you.
Marek Vermal.
Yeah, Vermal.
Vermael,
These guys, it's their natural position. So I know that they played in the MK Dons game. I'd look at them. Jesse Lingard's on the bench, so he can play on the right-hand side. I know Davey Blint has only been back in training a few weeks, so we'll see. It's hard, really. I'd probably go with the three at the back and then play a wing back. With Raphael, to say he's got to have an operation.
Yeah, he broke his or fractured his cheekbone.
I can wear a mask. He'll be all right. He's tough. That's what I have to do. Get a mask on. He'll be sorted. I see a guy once. I see a guy, he got hit by a car, come off his bike, he broke his jaw. The next day, he's back on his bike going to work. So if he can do that, Raphael can do the same.
Raphael can play a bloody game of football, can't he?
Yeah, I bet he didn't want to come off. I love Raphael. I think I love his tenacity. I love his energy and his enthusiasm. The problem is he's made of China. He really is. He gets. That's why I want to see him leave the club. He's never fit, and that's like half our squad. They're just never fit. I mean, I think your man said earlier, 52 odd injuries this year. You'll probably find Chelsea won't have 52 injuries in 5 seasons. Yet we're getting it. And that's another reason some of these players have got to move on, because they just can't stay fit. Jesus, it's absolutely terrible. I often feel like ringing the Samaritans or something, just depressing for all these people.
Sorry, Terry. By the way, I've got to agree, because I've also read a stat in the chat box tonight that last season we played 39 games without a single injury, which just says a lot, doesn't it? I mean, what Van Gaal has also done this season in terms of the points he's got on the board compared to last season, he's done a good job. No point in getting on his back yet. DIY15 says he would go with De Gea in goal, obviously. A 4-man defence with Jones, Smalling, Evans and Blackett. Carrick, Herrera, Rooney, Di Maria with Van Persie and Falcao up front. If you was to play that formation, Shaun, would you put Rooney in the midfield with Herrera, or would you play Di Maria in the midfield with Herrera as that diamond?
Sorry, Ben. I don't know. I think he'd probably go with Rooney and Van Persie up top, with Di Maria, Mata, sort of as the wide men on the diamond, with Mata in behind and Carrick at the bottom of the diamond.
Okay. Well, Carrick has to play, doesn't he? I mean, we're not a team without Michael Carrick at the moment.
He has to, yeah. I mean, he's shown the last few games that we do need him in there. It'll be interesting to know what will happen when Blind is back fully fit. I could see that being a rotational position between the two, but Blind's going to have to fight to get back in there.
The way that we're playing at the moment, I'll play them both. Honestly,
Yeah,
I'll play them both.
I'm looking forward to seeing both Blint and Michael Carrick in central midfield. I'm not sure if that will be, a Keane Scholes combination, but I think that both of them have different qualities, but they could command the midfield. They could dominate a midfield, which Manchester United, we've been a truffle for a long time, and our centre's been soft. And for me, when them two are back, I'm quite excited about that. I think it will allow our other players, because you see Herrera today, when he was further forward, he was in between the lines, he looked brilliant. It's when he's sitting deeper, it doesn't suit him. A little bit like Shinji Kagawa. When he was playing deeper, he just looked out of his depth. But yeah, when them two are back, I'm looking forward to that.
He's an attacking midfielder, isn't he, Herrera? And the problem is that he's got to compete with Mata, Rooney, and there's the players in it. Also, Fellaini's battling for a position in the team. He might be out injured, but his physical presence today could have actually been quite handy in the team. Stephen, we'll come over to you, mate. If you are looking at your side and you're looking at a team and also a couple of players to play out front, who who would you play up front? Obviously, Di Maria is coming back. He would surely go straight into the starting 11.
Yeah, for me, I think he's got to. His performance against Southampton, I mean, and Arsenal away, he just like I say, he just frightens people to death when he runs at you. If he thinks you're going one way, he'll just go the other and he'll skin you. And it creates so much space for everyone else. I'd have him straight back in. I'd bring Van Persie back in, and I'd probably put him up the top with Falcao and put Rooney in the midfield.
Right, okay, you'll keep it near enough the same for Wazza then. Boys, let's get your predictions, shall we, for the Southampton game. I believe it's a 4 o'clock kickoff on Sunday, so we'll be live after the game. Terry, goal scorers and score line for me, please.
I think Falcao's going to pick up a nice little goal at home. And I think Herrera might get another. I think he's when he scored before, he scored the next game. I think he seems like a player that will do that. I think he's showing a little bit of form. So I'm going to go for a nice little 3-0 victory. A couple of goals from Mr. Falcao and Herrera. So stick a bet on that. Anytime scorecast, probably get around about 25 to 1.
So, Terry, we're going to get that performance that we want from you then.
Sorry, say that again?
We're going to get that performance we all want. That's what you're saying.
I hope so. I just want us to. You know what? I want to walk away. I want the 3 points. I played dreadfully and take the 3 points over playing well and losing. We're not Tottenham fans who enjoy that. But I would love to walk away Sunday and be like, do you know what? I felt entertained. I enjoyed the game. And we got the 3 points. And it looks like we're moving forward. Because for me, I'm only happy when we're progressing and we're getting back to our former glories. I don't want us to tread water and become a Liverpool or worse than that, a Nottingham Forest. And that's, although we've spent money and although Van Gaal is a world-class manager and we've got great players there, massive clubs have fallen in the past. You know, they've only got to look at AC Milan at the moment. I don't want to be there, and the club can't afford it because of the debt we're in. So I just want to see us, keep pushing on and keep pushing forward.
Hopefully we'll get there. I've got faith. I've got a lot of faith. How about you, Shaun? Goal scorers and scoreline. By the way, guys, if you want to join in with the panel, tweet us at the United View or comment in the comment box. We just need your scoreline and goal scorers. So, Shaun, I reckon a carrot goal's in there somewhere.
You're reading my mind now, are you, Ben?
Yes, trying my best.
Carrick won't score next week. Now watch him. No, I'm going to go for 2-1 to United, and it's going to be Rooney and Phil Jones.
Rooney and Phil Jones. There we go. There's a couple of predictions. Good luck. What do you reckon the odds are for that, Terry?
Say it again?
Phil Jones to score. What do you reckon the odds are going to be for that?
Oh, or any time or first goal scorer?
Let's go any time.
Any time for him to get a goal, probably about 20 to 1. And what you said the score will be?
2-0.
2-0. You get about 35 for 1 for that, I reckon. That's just me having a guess. I don't gamble. I don't gamble, by the way. I'm Jewish, but it's all right. I'm not really Jewish. I'm joking.
We've got a 3-0. We've got a 2-1. Sorry there, Shaun. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, 2-1.
Okay. And what about you, Stephen? Where's your faith?
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 as well. Another nervy affair. Falcao and Di Maria goal scorers for me.
Fair enough. Well, Celeb Bryant on Twitter says Southampton are going to beat us if we carry on playing the way we are. We need a big performance. At Man United Writer says 2-0 Van Persie and Herrera both to get on the score sheet. Hello to Anders Spoon, who says we need to make a statement against Southampton. A big 3-1 win for them. I'm going to say, do you know, I fancy a 2-0 as well. I'm going to go Falcao and I'm going to go for a goal from Rooney. Rooney needs a goal. I'll go for a 2-0. DOI says 3-0. Rooney, Herrera, Falcao. And Ben says 3-1. Van Persie, Di Maria and Rooney for us. Pele to score for them. Let's have a look at the YouTube box. Swaggart says 3-1. Young Sino says 2-1. Rooney and Falcao. Matt Cottrell says 2-0 to United. Rooney and Di Maria. Hello to Fred Jones, who says 2-1. They're your predictions. You've heard our panels, and we'll be back on Sunday night, 10 o'clock. Tony, sorry, why am I saying Tony? Terry, thank you for coming on, mate.
No problem, mate. Thanks for having me.
It's a bit out of the blue, so we're sorry about a few technical glitches.
Yeah, my wife's been giving me proper looks through the window, right? I tell you, I'm in serious trouble. not even coming on this, but I enjoyed it anyway.
Cheers, mate. Well, when a guy needs to rant, they need to rant. It had to happen. Where can people subscribe to your channel?
Yes, so what you can do, it's the Devil's Bus TV. You can subscribe through there, or you can find me on Twitter. It's a proper Glory Hunter page, MUFC London. Come check it out. All the tweets are my own. If you are easily offended, don't bother following what I do, because I'll offend you. So, lovely.
Cheers, Terry. Thank you very much, mate. Hopefully we'll have you on again soon. Stephen, what about you, mate? Where can people find you? Thank you for coming on as well.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Thanks for having me. Yeah, my Twitter handle's at SGCW7, I think. I'm not even too sure myself.
Well, we'll tweet it out anyway so people can go and find it. That's great. Shaun, thank you for coming on once again, mate. Obviously, you'll be back next week. Where can people find you?
Shaun, that's SHAUN, MUFC20.
Bless Shaun, he's been ill all week, but he's still here on the show tonight. Nothing beats our Shaun. And of course, on Wednesday, our very first transfer roundup will be on this channel. You can catch it from around 6 o'clock with Tom Doyle, and Hayley, bringing you the biggest transfer rumours out there at the moment and their views. All that's left for me to say is thank you for watching. Good win today. We're into the draw for the next round of the FA Cup. However, performance was a bit shabby. Hopefully, improve one against Southampton. And come on, United. Let's pick up those 3 points. Come on. Thank you for watching. Bye.